my focus is on the actual closing side of it, and I think as agents, you really need to be aware of what's happening from the title insurance side when it comes to short sales. So, just so we're clear, as everybody's starting to filter in, the sellers, they're in possession of the property. They own the property, whether they're underwater or not. And what I mean by that is that if they have more owed on the property than they actually have in equity, they still own the property. There is not a entitlement or a right to a short sale. And I had someone ask me today, well, the bank's got to do this. The bank doesn't have to do anything. Okay? Because what most people are not aware of is that the secondary mortgage market is much more complex than what's going on with your seller and their 2 or 3 liens that are now worthless in their minds. But there's other types of insurance that are been in the secondary market that makes it a little more difficult. So I think it is naive to assume that if you've got a house that's worth $200 and they've got liens of $350, that they're going to be qualified for a short sale. That is not the way the game is played. And by the way, there's no federal legislation that's going to change that game. It's not going to happen. Now, we could have a discussion over some coffee about my worthless opinions around how this should be resolved. Unfortunately, nobody in Congress or the Senate has called my house to let me fix it for them, so I don't think it's going to happen, so we're going to be stuck with this. So there's a couple points of interest that I want to talk about if you're taking notes. I don't have slides or PowerPoint because, like I said earlier, I'm a little ADD, so I try to avoid that. As soon as I could get out of school, I did. And so, but if you're taking some notes, the one thing I want to talk about now is modification, short sale, and qualification of those things. You have to qualify for a short sale. So I know this is going to sound weird, but if you have assets and you ask a bank to take a short on a payoff of $100,000, and you have a client who's sitting on $500,000, they may not qualify, even though they feel they're entitled to it for a short sale. From a real estate agent's point of view, that you're wasting your time. So I say this, and I've said this for 12 years since I've practiced law. Realtors sell property. Okay? They should not babysit kids for their clients. They should not wash windows for their clients. They should not negotiate short sales for their clients. When we go into court, the rules are completely changed because most of you are very commonsensical, smart people. And you're hearing certain things going, that doesn't make any sense to me. And the judge rules it away, and you're looking around going, I don't get that. That doesn't make any sense. Because you're in court. You're not in the world. That's it. And I went to law school because I don't really like being in the world, so the courtroom works really well for me, and so I like it in there. And the reason I say that is because when it starts to go bad, and by the way, this crisis just started a couple years ago. We haven't even got through the indictments. We haven't got through there's going to be so many indictments coming down. I just shudder to think of it. There are going to be reviews of all these short sales. Okay? Now, I'm not in a popularity contest. I have never been in one. But I am pretty conscious about wanting my clients not to get sent up the river. Because this is federal law. This is not some local bank and oh, I forgot to disclose that asset. I'm sorry. No. That's going to be considered fraud. And that's going to be a federal law that you're breaking, and they're going to hammer down on people like you have never seen before in your life. Now, let me give you a couple examples how I see this. I'm adamantly opposed to these short sale companies who are coming in and negotiating bargain prices. Okay? Now, so I'm going to probably irritate like 800 people with this. But I have reviewed these. I believe that they are very, very sketchy. And so when you have somebody creating a false market and a false price in order to get a bank to take a lower number, you're getting very close to creating a market. And when you create a market and it's not arm's length, any decent lawyer can say, Your Honor, there has been information that's been withheld from my client who they relied upon that information to short the loan by $150,000, and that's their damage. Because the person who bought the property sold it the next day for an $80,000 profit.
Or 3 months.
Or 3 months. Now, I don't have to be that good to make that argument. But that argument's going to be made. So I think you have to be very careful on how you go in this, what I consider to be a minefield, that we really don't know where the mines are yet. Right? second around, let me talk to something else about this around title insurance. Okay. I know everybody thinks title insurance is a scam. That's what everybody tells me. I had a client tell me yesterday, oh man, lawyers are crooks. Okay, listen to me. That may be true. All right? Present company accepted. All right? However, your title insurance is a risk management tool. If you are buying a house from a foreclosed property or from a bank-owned property and they say, we want you to use our title insurance provider, they are telling you, okay, that we have this box for Christmas, right? And if I had a box under my tree and my girls go in there, opened it up, and there was nothing inside it, they would be upset. Well, that's what that title insurance policy probably is. It's a policy that insures nothing. Now, I found 2 clauses with a large bank. This client hired me to represent them to review the title policy. There were 2 clauses in the title insurance commitment. One said, you cannot rely on this title insurance commitment. So that's interesting. And then it said, you cannot rely on this for a title insurance commitment subject to paragraph 16. So I'm like, okay, well, let's have fun. Let's go to paragraph 16. And it said, this title commitment is for informational purposes only. It shall not be used in a court of law in the event there is a title claim on this property. Okay? Thought, wow, that's great. I called up and said, you can strike paragraph 13 and 16. They said, okay. And within 5 minutes, I had a new binder with those taken out. So what does that tell you? You know what? If we get 20 through and only catch 1, we've minimized our risk. The risk out there right now is at an all-time high.
How many commitments are you reviewing from title companies as an attorney?
That on my title company or from other people? All of them.
No, I'm talking about if you're that you come to you as an attorney just to review it. You're not a party to it.
Oh, very rare. I mean, you had to be really sophisticated, and I mean, this client was sophisticated, and he knew what he was doing, and I charged him, I think it was $550. People said, well, that's just, really? Well, I spend a lot of time looking at this stuff. I don't play the violin. I don't have a lot of other hobbies, so that knowledge is really important, so you pay for what you get, okay? And I'm telling you that they're passing this off every day. And if you really want to have a problem with referral base in 4 years when they go to sell it, and there are massive title problems like the one I fixed yesterday where the client owned the property for 11 years and the deed had never been put to record, the deed had never been recorded because the title company he went to had gone out of business and just walked away. So knowing what you're looking at is extremely important, okay? And it is not just about getting a sale through, because anybody can do that, right? But this is really about your business on the long term, because that is going to be a real issue down the road. So the quality of the title insurance is, and Donnie alluded to this earlier, there's marketable title and there's insurable title. Okay? If I have car insurance, okay, that only covers you up to $15,000, and you're driving, like Donnie does, like a $100,000 car or something, right? I'm messing with him. But and you wreck it, okay? Your title insurance, your car insurance is only going to cover $15,000. So if you've got a really, really bad title policy, okay, and there's a title problem, guess what? No one's going to say, we think you should really pay more on that claim. It's not going to happen. They're going to say, what are the limits? Well, we got these exemptions and these basically conditions that weren't met. We're not covering. You think a judge is going to say, yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to rewrite about 200-something years of contract law just for you. No, they're going to say, you had a choice, and you chose to be cheap. You're stuck. Merry Christmas. And ultimately, they're going to look at you as their real estate agent and go, why did you not tell me about this? And you say, well, I'm not a lawyer, right? That's not going to be good enough. And when they're passing these policies off, it's extremely important. You're talking about the value of the property. Okay? So I'm not even going to get into the standard they're trying to pass off versus the enhanced coverage. We can wax on and on about that. That's extremely boring for you guys. But ultimately, you're putting your clients at risk when you allow them, because it's cheaper for them to go with the REOs company or with some fly-by-night. You're putting them at risk, okay? And they're sliding in, and I will tell you this. Most people are not even looking at the title commitments from these REO companies that are out of the area that are trying to pass this thing off. Okay, here's the other thing you need to look for. The other day, this is something that's a big pet peeve of mine because I'm a little obsessive compulsive. So this is my thing. The power of attorney is being used to sign all these documents. Okay? I think we're up to 15 in my office, where the person signing the documents was not the authorized power of attorney from the corporation signing the deed. Deutsche Bank series number 755 of the lot number 2252. Who are you going to sue? Nobody. So this person signs this deed. A year later, some jerk attorney like myself says, yeah, you know what? The power of attorney doesn't have this person listed. You got a major title defect. Well, how much it's going to cost to fix it? Well, your title insurance doesn't go in place because it required a deed to be executed properly and put to record. And the deed's defective. So let's call the title insurance company. Oh, it was the Deutsche Bank title insurance company that you used. They're also out of business. Get in line. You go back to going with people who know what they're doing, okay? And not putting so much pressure on your settlement companies to close anything when it's not ready, and trusting them when they say it's not ready. Well, here's a little info for you. I have no incentive to keep a closing not closed. Here's what I want to do. I want to irritate everybody in my life. I want to be called the worst names for 3 days straight because there's a title defect that I didn't create, but I've discovered it. And what I'm going to do is shelve this thing, because I have nothing better to do than to take 28 phone calls every hour from my agents who say, get off your tail and close this thing. Well, I'm trying to, man, but there's a major problem here. And you don't care, and ultimately you got to start caring. And if you don't start caring, the market is just going to be a wreck, which it is right now. I mean, we've gone through this with the refinances. Everybody was pushing this. I'm telling you, there's not one closing in our office that does not have a title problem. Not one. And I mean, Donnie, you probably say the same thing. They're chronic.
Or any other problem.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
I've never seen the market like this.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Never.
I mean, okay, so I really want to point out to you that there are real specific things that people should be looking for. And the attitude of, we'll clean it up later.
Oh, by the way, can you still close it for $300?
Yeah, that's just nuts. Yeah, I mean, those days are going to change. Look, BP's trying to do that. Okay, so that's the attitude there. We'll just clean it up later. It's a problem. And you need to be really focused on the fact that your clients are making the largest financial decision of their lives. And for you, yeah, the commission may be $6,000, $7,000, but for them, I have clients right now who have been stuck for $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 in damages because they went someplace, they didn't do their job, and now they got a problem. You're gonna have problems. The difference is navigating those problems successfully. Okay. The difference is also, before you get involved with something, I think the most powerful thing as agents you can learn is the word no. I mean, at some point you got to say, no, I'm not taking your listing because you've got 4 loans, you're jacked up, you know, I can't sell this, and I'm not going to just put it out there and hopefully we jam this short sale through and expect that to be successful for everybody involved. You got to say, look, go to a lawyer, get your stuff straight, and when you're straight, we'll sell the house.
But he's also talking about if you're a selling agent, don't just go with the contract that REO is going to present to you that says, hey, if you use our title company, we'll pay for your owner's title insurance. Wow, we're going to save you some money. All right, that's just the biggest mistake. That's where I think you're emphasizing more than anything. It's really not as a listing, because very few of you REOs, it's who you guys are bringing the buyers to.
Right. Your people are always able to go get their own title policy, get their own title cert. Just like they can go get their own termite letter. But I guess what I'm saying to you is, you have to, look, my dad used to say the same thing. If you don't know who the sucker is in the room, guess who it is? It's you. Which every day I go, yep, it's still me. I mean, right? But I don't get why people are so cheap. I don't get it. Like, when I bought my house, I mean, this is a big deal. I didn't, I thought, okay, well, I better make sure this is really serious. And I took the time, and I think what is happening, we've taken this sort of position that cheap is better. And really, that's not true. I don't believe so. Yeah, I don't think so. I think that buyers and sellers are looking for good value for their money. And if the property is an REO, they're looking at that property going, yeah, I think that property's worth a certain amount of money. Okay? And if they're trying to steal it, well, that's a different type of buyer. You can disclose that properly and go down the road. But I think most people who are buying now are looking just for not overpriced like it was for years, where they're fighting it out in the driveways, because if you don't get your contract in with no contingencies, someone else is going to offer another 20 grand, and no home inspection, and they know they're buying a problem. Those same people now are trying to get out because guess what? They don't have any equity. Why? Because they overbought before, and we all, myself included, rode that wave for a very long time. So did Donnie. And at some point, we as individuals and professionals, and all of you are, by the way, have got to say, look, I'm sorry, I won't do that. You are not in a position to sell your home. Well, why not? Because you haven't got permission from the banks to convey your property for the value necessary to sell it. Now, that seems very reasonable, doesn't it? And people's personal situations are so extreme now, but that doesn't mean you have to participate in that. But ultimately, you as professionals have to be professional. And just like I'm tired of giving people bad news. Like, I'm sorry, this is just a bad idea. All right, let me just dispel a myth about the special and the general warranty deeds, okay? A special warranty deed is typically saying, look, I own the property and there is nothing I've done to it, okay? But if this bucket of bolts that I'm giving you is really a horrible title, guess what? You're getting a horrible title. Now, if you add on to that, going with their title insurance, who's already insured over all this bucket of bolts, that's probably not a good idea. But if I have a client who's going to get a special warranty deed from an REO, and my examiners have looked at it, and my title company says we can get insurance on it, and the title's clean, I don't have a problem getting a special warranty deed, because what am I doing? I've protected my client through title insurance that I know will actually pay. And my butt's on the line, because my agency's issuing the title insurance, and if there is a claim, they're going to call me up and say, hey, Albert, I got a claim. I'm like, whoa, slow down. Let's get that straight. And then I'm going to call First American or lawyers and say, this is one of my clients. Y'all need to pay this claim, because we went through the proper procedures, and this is really serious. So the special warranty is just a way for the corporations to say, look, we're out. But that doesn't matter as long as you're getting the right title insurance. Okay? And you got to get owners. For the love of Pete, I don't get that. Okay? Let me say this about the short sales. I think that is a unique process that real estate agents should be very leery of and getting involved with. That's all I'm saying. As for a bank-owned property, number one, have your clients make sure they spend the money to protect their own investment. So they should really want a termite person that they hire to look at the property. Okay? If the bank will not allow them to do a home inspection or some other craziness, and they're buying a $300,000 issue, it's going to cost them a lot of money, they may want to spend some time, I've got the time, we got to go, on getting a home inspection properly done, okay? And third, don't make it so it's got to happen immediately, okay? You got to give yourself time for the people that you've hired to do their jobs. And doing a closing in a week and a half is ridiculous, okay? It is absolutely ridiculous that people come to me and say, hey, Al, can you close this in 2 weeks? I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll just try to make sure everybody acts perfect for the next 2 weeks. So we have no tolerance for mistake. And so Jesus didn't do real estate, so I got a problem with that. I got a real problem with that because I'm not that good. I mean, I wish I was, but I'm just not that good. So give yourself time to let this process mature and do what it's supposed to do, which is identify potential problems that can affect people's lives significantly. Okay. I think that's only 3, but I'm out.
Can I make one more comment, though? He has said the 3 things. That Albert did say title insurance. He mentioned the home inspection or the termite report. And I'm a huge advocate of survey. Because no one out here can go to somebody's house and tell me exactly where their property lines are.
Right.
Okay? So where do you know? What are you selling? What exactly are you selling? You don't know. And you can get a title policy, but a title policy is not going to insure you a matter of survey.
That's correct.
So it's a huge due diligence matter.
Yeah.